There's what we say, and then there's what we don't. And often it's the unspoken that holds the most power. Welcome to the Unspoken Edge, a space where hidden dynamics, quiet tensions, and unacknowledged truths are named, held, and turned into grounded action. I'm Rachel Keck, coach, facilitator, and founder of Mosaic Collaborative. I work with visionary leaders who want growth that's sustainable, relational, and real. Here, we explore what's beneath the surface, the energy under leadership, the patterns, resistance, and the truth shaping how we lead and live. In every episode, we'll name what's missing, hold what's tense, and follow the thread to what's real. Because clarity creates traction. And legacy, it's not just what you leave behind, it's how you lead today. Let's begin. Hello, everyone. Today I'm talking with Elizabeth Koehler. Elizabeth and I, which I'm going to call her Lizzie from here on out, met at a former podcast guest I had, Mike Walrod.
Mhm.
We both share an affinity for the EOS Entrepreneurial Operating System. And so Mike has a gathering each month, and Lizzie and I met there. And I thought, oh, this gal seems cool. Let's have coffee. And then we had coffee, and it was like, okay, this needs to keep going on, because we could have probably spent a few hours talking about all the things. I mean, not only operational things and nonprofits and EOS, but also people and personalities and how to read people and how to leverage teams. I mean, there was just so much, and just our own journeys of like finding our way and who we are. And so I'm very excited about this conversation. Lizzie, what do you want people to know about who you are and what you do?
Man, just start with an easy
You
question.
know,
Well, I want people to know that I am a consultant, coach, facilitator for nonprofits, and I'm really passionate about helping nonprofits connect their people, processes, systems to their mission impact and use the best of the business operating world to do that. So, a lot of people want nonprofits to do more with less, and I want them to do more with more and be able to make their mission come alive in the world and have the resources and support to do that. I ran a nonprofit for a number of years, and we were able to implement what's called an operating system. What that means was the way we did things together as a team, and putting structure around that was really powerful for us. And I want to see that same success for other nonprofits, because it's burnout is huge in that space. That's why I started this consulting business. It's a brand new baby that's being birthed and created right now, and it's very fun. And that's how I got to meet you and all these other awesome new connections that are popping up around Kansas City.
awesome. That alignment of the heart of why people are doing what they do with efficiency and frameworks and clarity, I think is where we both just really enjoy coming in and
Mhm.
supporting. Yeah, I'm excited to be witness to your journey and be part of it. I appreciate how you see things. All right, here's my question for you today. What is one quiet tension or invisible dynamic that you've been navigating that once you surfaced it, it has created traction or clarity that you didn't expect?
Mhm. Um, yeah. So what came to mind was that even the process of starting a business or becoming self-employed, going into business for yourself is something that is unspoken until it's not. You kind of one day wake up and say, I'm going to speak this into existence now, right? There was a time before you said, I'm doing this versus the time afterwards. And it might not be a 24-hour period. I think you could ask all self-employed business owners, when was that moment when you decided to jump in, and they'll have various answers. I mean, the words that come to mind are make it up. You can speak it into existence, But the truth is, it existed before, right? Everything that you've done up in your life until you like start that business or jump into that consulting space has led you to here and created that space for you. And it, in some ways, also just didn't exist until you decided to tell people about it and decided to act on it. And just that tension of, is it real? Can I tell someone this is a thing if I don't have a client yet? You're not leading with like, I don't have a client. Will you please be my first client? You
Yeah.
know? Although
Dang.
that actually is like a little bit of what I did though for one of the clients I have now. I was like, I'm looking for pilot partners who are creative and want to help me build something. Would you be interested in that?
And I love how you even worded that.
Yeah. Yeah, right? It's so fun. But it is this co-creation of taking things that are very real, of first off frameworks that exist, and EOS is one of them, but EOS didn't come up with it. It existed years before that in multiple various forms, right? But the more people speak something and package it in a way we can all understand, hello marketing friends, things become more real. And so the unspoken becomes more true or is something that can be experienced in a new way.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about the constant tension I'm in as I'm speaking a new business into existence right now.
It does seem like there becomes a moment where the courage overtakes the fear of it.
Yeah.
You're like, I am
Right. It's like,
doing
oh, I
this.
can't do this. Wait,
I'm
or
doing this. Yeah,
yeah.
I can do this
Right.
actually.
No, we're gonna do it. Yeah.
Yeah. What were the seeds? What were the little inklings that were under the surface before the courage really overtook and you were like, yeah, this is what I am doing now?
hmm Yes. Great question. I think many of my friends or even old colleagues are like, well, no, I've heard Lizzie say she didn't want to start a business, that she doesn't want to be self employed. And like that just doesn't work with her personality. And she needs the structure and people or structures acting on her so she can respond to that. And I love urgency. I love clarity. I love tangible things, tangibility, reaching goals. I love working with teams, all that. If I have my own thing, I have to do all of it. I have to come up with all of that myself. That doesn't sound like any fun. So I would say for a long time, that was not, and actually, I think I told myself it was too hard. It's too difficult. I don't have the discipline. I won't want it bad enough. I'll give up or something. You asked what were the seeds, and I'm thinking of all the seeds that I like
Hold you
told
back.
myself about not doing it. I also was responding to that idea because it seemed interesting. It seemed fun, or I respected people who had the courage to go out and create things. And I love to create things. I was a little jealous too, subconsciously. But I think I was so busy and focused on the nonprofit that I was in, and I worked there for almost 11 years. So there was plenty going on, and I wasn't thinking about doing my own thing. And then after that, I was a leadership coach and hearing from lots of different leaders and learning about the problems that are similar in business in the nonprofit space. And also what's different, but people are people and what all of those things are. So that's when I started thinking about something where I can help people holistically solve some of these problems. So I was working in a very narrower space as a coach, and I feel like there's more here I want to do or help them with. Being an executive coach is like an incredible job, and I don't want to do that 40 hours a week. My personality is too hands-on to be in that space. I started thinking about, oh, what are the other ways you can marry the leadership coaching with the strategic planning, with the process develop, again, kind of the holistic operating system. How can I help someone do that? When I left my role as a coach just back in June, it wasn't unexpected, but the timing was different than I thought it was going to be. I was in the place of what's next and why do I think it wouldn't be doing this for myself, right? What would be holding me back from that? And so as I had learned over those last 4 or 5 years, it's okay to short term work. And by short term, I mean like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, right? Where you've got those really tangible goals. and you can see them. You can see that far out. You get further out than 3 years, and all the best strategic planning models will tell you you don't predict that with specificity. You get clear on your goal 2, 3 years out, and you let the vision guide that, but you're not planning beyond that. I love being in roles where that is my end game, and then I hand it off to other people. At first, I was like, oh, I feel bad about that. And I'm like, no, I don't feel bad about that. That works really well if you are going to come in and contract or consult or do fractional work with people.
I think sometimes we forget that it's okay to experiment.
Mhm.
I'm curious for you to tease out for everybody is you talked about holistically solving problems.
Mm,
You even said a holistic system. What do you
I
mean?
would love to. The best way I know how to describe it is that every time you get a group of people together, a team, a group of humans, they can be on a sports team, they can be a business, it can be a nonprofit, a volunteer organization, whatever. You get them together and they have a way in which they communicate, the habits they build together, their behaviors, and the way they get things done or not done. So even that counts, right? So whatever those habits and systems are, every group of people has those. And for most nonprofits and businesses, that human system, if you want to call it that, is playing whack a mole at all of the things that are coming up in their pursuit of their mission. They need to grow a program and they need to hire a staff. So they focus on people development, or someone leaves and they need to replace them. Maybe they lose some grant funding that they wanted to have, or maybe a small business, their main supplier is discontinues whatever they were doing. So you're responding, and anyone who's been in these spaces knows that those are opportunities too. But whatever you're doing as a team, you're responding to these things. And so your system gets built around these things popping up and you're hitting them as you go. And you often get tired. And after a while, you either burn out or you can't hit them fast enough. Like you even stop growing. So at first it was a couple people doing it and you could kind of yell at each other over the chaos. Okay, we're on the same page, we're still going forward, or we feel like we're moving, but you get to a point where the complexity is too much as you grow. And so you hit a ceiling. And this is all your operating system at work. And when I say operating system, it sounds like software. So you can think of it as like the people software for your business. What are all of your people doing
Mhm.
together? And what systems and habits are they using to do that? And all of that is your operating system. So that's what business operating systems help people with. EOS is one of them. It's the most well known. There are anywhere from probably 10 to 20, depending on who you ask, like what qualifies as a business operating system. The Rockefeller habits are really old school. Scaling up was built around those. EOS comes from scaling up. Metronomics comes from scaling up. That one isn't as popular, but it's very thorough. It has some components that some of the other ones don't have, but they all have a lot of those same structures and best practices that you'll find in a lot of the best business books and people who've been successful. They have these tools that they use. And so packaging them together and kind of a proven process is what the best operating systems do. I want to help nonprofits have access to that and apply it to them. So here's all that's out there. Here's the best of it. Here are the 10 main components. How do you make that work in your business? What's your operating system? What is it now and what can it be? And what kind of ease and joy and freedom are you going to be able to have when you're able to implement these proven processes and tools? And it takes time and it's behavior change. 99% of it is team behavior change. A lot of people aren't willing to do that work because it's a little vulnerable and a little uncomfortable. And there's plenty of unspoken edges that people don't want to approach or go near in pursuit of that. And they have to be willing to do that if you're going to pursue that journey to growth and health. Yeah.
It takes vision and courage. There's got to be definitely a strong vision and courage. What things really point to this as a healthy operating system? You mentioned the whack a mole and the burnout.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
means you need to grow, you need to expand, you need to put something in place because that's not sustainable. What are the things that really help?
Mm. I think one of the easiest ones is you start achieving your goals. So
Mm,
your 1-year plan happens, your 2-year plan happened, you set a 3-year vision, and you're like, I never thought we were going to do this.
mhm,
And we just accomplished it.
yeah,
And you feel the momentum. So you start setting out those short term goals and they happen.
yeah,
So that's one. That's not the only thing because you can achieve goals through massive amounts of hustle, right? And everyone's still kind of burnt out and jaded and frustrated, or you can have a toxic culture. But I would argue there's only so much sustainability to that kind of
yeah,
goal achievement, right? But and it does depend on how you define success, because there's certainly plenty of successful businesses on paper that don't have healthy operating systems or healthy leadership. They're like, we're making lots of money. I am defining success a little bit more in that holistic way. They want that joy and purpose in their work. They want to connect with others. They want to build something that lasts. They want to build something that impacts their employees. And obviously, in the nonprofit space, I
yeah,
mean, the mission is everything. If we're not doing that, why are we here?
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Um, I a lot of times start with what is the definition of success? Let's we're
yeah.
rowing in the same direction here. I love that you brought in defining success and then achieving goals and feeling that momentum. And I would add the engagement of people and you're achieving goals.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. And it can look so many different ways. I mean, as unique as we are, there's just so many different ways that can go about. One thing that you said earlier that I really wanted to come back to was just because I feel this too. I mean, I have my own business too. And so you had mentioned this constant tension, like when you have the courage to say, yes, I'm doing this. I'm I'm creating this business, I'm building it, I'm doing it. Then comes that, yeah, the wrestling, the constant tension, right? And so I'm curious for you as you grow your business right now, what constant tensions are you up against? What are you feeling?
Mm, yeah, that's a good question. I think for a while it was a what is enough work? No one is telling you when to stop or when's enough, or have you done enough filling of your pipeline? So that's always there.
Yeah.
There was a point where I had to accept whatever my current capacity was, even if it wasn't enough. And I think I had to let go of some people might say, if you're not hustling 80 hours a week and you don't have clients, that's on you, right? Well, that's true. You're not wrong. And if I can't get business by working how much I'm working, then I will go do something else. Like, you kind of have to accept that. It's a fully owning of those decisions and the tension of it may or may not be enough. And I'm okay with that. I'm willing to take that risk with the investment of time and energy capital that I have. And it will result in what it results in. So I don't think everyone is like that. That's how I handle it. That's how I manage to keep my peace
Yeah. Well, I
and keep the energy and the joy alive of doing it, because I've been surprised, "Oh, this is more fun than I thought." It is hard, and it is a grind, and it is my own thing. It's my own grind, so that feels good.
yeah, you've mentioned joy. You said at one point joy and ease and freedom. My business isn't new, but I'm rebuilding. And that question of, is this enough? Am I doing enough of that? Enough social, enough, networking, enough hours on the whatever. Defining success for me and what it sounds like for you was really joy and ease and freedom. That's why I would do my own business anyway. That helps it's guide rails, right? Guide rails to what is enough.
It's the values alignment, and that's so important for us as individuals to know what to be centered and settled in our own values and how we're aligning around that, and we really feel it. We feel that misalignment. And so do organizations. Why are you here? Your core purpose. what are the ways that you get work done? And as a team, if creativity is really important here, let's not sacrifice that. You're going to feel that tension if
Yeah.
you don't have the space to do that. So, to your point, yeah, goals aren't just we hit our sales target, right? Goals are here's who we want to be, here's how we want to exist in the world, and having that alignment and being able to live that out. That's also why people go into business themselves, is because you're just managing you and your values, right? And finding clients that fit. My leadership team at the nonprofit was not perfect, but we had a lot of transparency. We had a lot of shared values. We had a lot of communication. We had a lot of goals that we hit together, and it felt really good. And people enjoyed it, and they were able to bring themselves and do their best work, and also know like when it was time to pass the torch on to someone else, which is another important part of knowing your own values. When have you served out your
Yeah.
time?
When it's
Yeah.
time to
Yeah.
make a change. I love this. And I love this bit about values alignment because you're right. We end up putting something on the wall instead of realizing it's in everything we do.
Mm,
And I love this idea of an operating system, knowing that it's successful when goals are being met and people are engaged and transitions happen with more
mm,
ease.
yeah.
Whether it's knowledge transfer or systems or whatever, there's a sense of ease in the things we do because we know that what we're going for. There's some joy and fun in it because we're aligned.
I like
Okay.
it.
Where can everybody find you? If they're like, we need this gal, we need to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Where can folks find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn,
Okay.
and you can email me. And it's at Elizabeth K Consulting.
Our guests bring such clarity and depth. If you want to explore more of their work, you'll find links in the show notes. And thank you, listener, for joining me on the Unspoken Edge, the place where we name what's missing so you can lead from what matters. If something resonated with you today, share this episode with a friend or a colleague. Leave a review or subscribe so you don't miss what's next. And if you're navigating unseen tensions in your leadership or culture, let's connect. You'll find me at mosaiccollaborative.com because legacy isn't a final chapter. It's what you live into, one conversation at a time.